On August 4, 2020, a massive explosion rocked the port of Beirut, Lebanon, devastating the city and killing over 200 people. The shockwave obliterated entire neighborhoods, leaving behind a trail of destruction. As the world watched in horror, investigators uncovered an unsettling mystery tied to the tragedy, a derelict ship called the MV Rhosus. So what secrets did this abandoned vessel hold? And how did it connect to one of the most devastating explosions in modern history? Stay tuned as we unravel the bizarre and haunting story of the MV Rhosus. The MV Rhosus arrives in Beirut. In September 2013, the MV Rhosus, a Moldovan-flagged cargo ship, made an unplanned and fateful stop at the port of Beirut. The vessel, operated by a Russian businessman named Igor Gruchushkin, had set sail from Georgia with a dangerous cargo, 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate. Highly volatile chemical compound, often used as fertilizer or in explosives, was reportedly destined for a buyer in Mozambique. However, the Rhosus never completed its journey. The ship's troubles began when it encountered mechanical issues in the Mediterranean Sea, prompting an emergency diversion to Beirut for urgent repairs. Upon arrival, local port authorities inspected the vessel and found it to be in alarming disrepair. Critical safety violations, including corroded equipment and malfunctioning systems, rendered the ship unseaworthy. The Lebanese government impounded the vessel to prevent further risk, trapping it at the port. So the situation worsened when it became apparent that the ship's owner had abandoned both the vessel and its crew. Reports emerged that the Rhosus had been operated under questionable circumstances, with unpaid crew wages and dubious ownership records raising eyebrows. The stranded sailors, left without resources or support, reportedly lived in dire conditions aboard the decaying ship for months, relying on local charities for food and supplies. Eventually, the crew was evacuated, but the deadly cargo remained. In a bid to free up space at the congested port, officials transferred the 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate to Warehouse 12, located in the heart of the port district. So this storage decision was intended to be temporary, but years of bureaucratic delays and legal disputes meant the chemical stayed there indefinitely. Over time, the ammonium nitrate was largely forgotten. While some officials occasionally flagged its dangers, the warnings were often ignored or dismissed. Unbeknownst to most, the cargo was a ticking time bomb, improperly stored in deteriorating conditions that increased the risk of a catastrophic event. The MV Rhosus, once an obscure cargo vessel, had unwittingly set the stage for one of the most devastating explosions in modern history. Its unplanned arrival in Beirut would leave a legacy of destruction that the city and the world would never forget. The forgotten cargo. For 7 years, the ammonium nitrate sat in Warehouse 12, forgotten by most but occasionally flagged as a hazard by concerned officials. Several warnings were issued about the risks posed by the improperly stored material. Reports suggest that port authorities, government officials, and even the judiciary were aware of the danger. However, bureaucratic delays and negligence ensured that the highly explosive cargo remained untouched. Meanwhile, the Rhosus itself languished, slowly decaying at the port. The vessel became a symbol of abandonment, a relic tied to a forgotten crisis. As the years passed, the explosive material's condition worsened, increasing the risk of a catastrophic event. On the fateful afternoon of August 4, 2020, workers at the port were reportedly conducting welding operations near Warehouse 12. Sparks from the work ignited nearby materials, leading to a fire. Within minutes, the fire reached the ammonium nitrate, triggering a massive explosion. The blast was equivalent to hundreds of tons of TNT, creating a shockwave that shattered windows and destroyed buildings miles away. The explosion left a massive crater at the port and displaced over 300,000 people. It was one of the largest non-nuclear explosions in history, leaving the world in shock. In the aftermath, attention turned to the Rhosus and the deadly chain of events its abandoned cargo had set in motion. The fallout? The aftermath of the explosion sparked outrage across Lebanon and the international community. Investigations revealed a pattern of negligence and corruption that had allowed the dangerous cargo to sit in the heart of Beirut for years. Protests erupted as citizens demanded accountability from their leaders. The Rhosus, once a forgotten vessel, became infamous. The ship and its cargo symbolized the systemic failures that led to the tragedy. Lawsuits were filed and calls for reform echoed across the country. Despite ongoing investigations, many questions about the MV Rhosus explosion remain unanswered. The story of the MV Rhosus is a haunting reminder of how negligence and corruption can lead to disaster. Ships' abandoned cargo turned Beirut's port into a scene of unimaginable devastation, leaving scars that will take decades to heal. But what other lessons can we learn from this tragedy? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this story compelling, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tales that uncover the mysteries of the sea.